Hello and welcome to my country garden. It's an exciting day today because I'm finally going to be getting some things planted out into the ground. I'm also going to be sowing my parsnips, but first I'm going to be sowing some carrots. I'm going to be sowing them in two different ways. These will be the first batches of carrots that I sow this year, but of course I will be sowing them successionally to guarantee a nice supply of carrots all the way through the season. So, I'm at one of the big beds here at the back of the garden, and this is going to be planted up with parsnips and carrots. And that's what I'm going to be doing now. But first, I've got cardboard on the top. I'm going to take the cardboard off. I then have some more compost that I'm going to sieve on top, just to give the seeds something to germinate into that absolutely won't have any lumps and bumps in it. The rest of the compost should be fairly okay, but yeah, I'd like to just get some compost sieved at the top so that the seeds get started okay. So that's what I'll get on with now. So I had this cardboard on just to keep the beds, let the beds heat up a little bit if I could, because we've had some minus temperatures this week, but according to the weather forecast, that's us at least for the next week or so. So yeah, so this is what the bed is looking like so far. I've topped it up, you'll have seen in the previous video, I topped it up with compost and also with manure. And no, in fact, I didn't use manure in this bed, I just topped it up with compost. And in one side I also put some sand in there. What's this that's growing? Let's just hoik them out, whatever they are. We do not want them. Now the thing about this bed is that it was made last year, and there are logs and things at the base of it, but I think they're quite far down, so it should be okay for some parsnips and carrots. We shall see. Right, let's get some sieving happening. I could be here sometime just to get a bit of a layer on top. Okay, in this first half of the bed, I'm going to put the parsnips. Can you hear that? That's Hattie announcing that she's laid an egg, otherwise known as the egg song. So apologies if you can hear her. Anyway, so first half of the bed, I'm going to be putting in parsnips, and I've actually got two varieties of parsnip I'm going to grow. They are a parsnip called Palace, and it's an F1 variety. Never grown this before. I usually grow white gem, but I'm trying something different this year. So we've got Palace, F1, and we also have this little packet of seeds that I got as part of the membership of Steve House's gardening club. That's in the Digwell Greenfingers channel. He sends out lots of lovely seeds every month. And he sent out this parsnip called Guernsey. So there's not so many seeds here. So what I'm going to do, I've got 4 rows marked out. I'm going to put 3 rows of the Palace and 1 row of the Guernsey. So let me show you what I'm up to. So what I did was I just used this bamboo cane just to indent where I'm going to put the drills, and that's where I'm going to be sowing the parsnip seeds. So I've got the drills in, and I have watered the compost, and as you saw a moment ago, I sieved compost on top of what was fresh, new bought in compost as well. So it should be fairly lump free now. And now what I'm going to do is just, you want to be down about an inch or so, 3/4 of an inch maybe. So not too much. So I'm just making the drill the depth I want, following the line that I made with the bamboo cane. Usually I grow my parsnips in a 60-litre pot, but because I've got some new beds this year, I thought I would try using one of the beds for the parsnips and for one lot of carrots. So that is the drills made. So I'm going to start off with the parsnip called Palace, and I'm going to drop in 2 seeds at each station, and I'm going to basically put the parsnips about I don't know, a hand apart. Let's just, because I normally sow it in a pot, they tend to be a bit closer together. Let's just see what looks right to my eye. Right. Oopsie daisy. Oh dear, that's too many. Right. Okay, they are nice flat seeds, of course, parsnips, so they're quite easy to put in. So I'm just going to pop sort of a couple next to one another, and then about a hand along my drill I'm going to put another couple and another couple. I'm putting 2 in each station just in case we have a germination problem. I haven't in the past, but that is famous last words. I usually have okay parsnip germination. I don't mind if they're not huge. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 stations, if you like, each with 2 seeds at it. Oh, that one's got 3. Let's just pick that out. Right, let's now cover up the parsnips. There we go. And I am going to put the cardboard back on just to keep the moisture in until such a time as hopefully these parsnips germinate. There we go. So that's the first one, which is the Palace. Now I'm going to pop in the Guernsey, and I'll just do the same thing. Might have got 3 in a couple of places there, but that's okay, it's not a problem. So let's just and get the cardboard back on. So that's the parsnips in. Now I am going to sow the carrots in this other half of the bed. And the carrots I'm going to grow in here are called Sweet Candle. Never grown these before. I have had great reports of them though from various other gardeners and YouTubers. So I am looking forward to seeing if I can get these to grow. I'm going to use a similar method to the parsnips in so much as I'm going to use a cane just to mark out the drills, and then I'm just going to lightly sprinkle. The carrot seeds are smaller than the parsnips, so I'm just going to try my best to disperse them fairly thinly across each of the drills, cover them up, and again I'll pop on the cardboard just to keep the moisture in until they germinate. Then that will get whipped off and that will be them ready to grow on. Now the Sweet Candle packet says it's exceptional, it provides exceptional quality roots with an extra sweet flavour. Uniform, rich, orange, cylindrical shaped, blunt-ended roots, ideal for late summer harvesting. Also an exhibitor's favourite, not that I'm needing to worry about that. So, carrot sweet candle. And again, let's see, mark the spot of each drill with this. I wonder if I could get a little bit more in here. I'm going to go that distance, whatever that may be. I might get an extra row. Greedy, but anyway, there we go. So five drills I'm going to have. There we go. Again, I usually grow my carrots in buckets, but I thought this bed was too good to miss because it is quite a deep bed, so we're going to use that this year. So let's get the carrots in and see how good I am at sowing without over sowing. Not is, is probably the answer to that. Not very. Oh, oh. That was a bit generous there. Now this bed is going to be covered all the time with the green scaffolding netting. So I'm hoping that even if I do start thinning out my carrots, I'm not going to have too much of a problem with carrot root fly. That is the hope anyway. And it's good doing the root vegging drills such as this, because it's easy to see what are the carrots or the parsnips when they're young, as opposed to what might be weeds, because you know that you've got long rows of seeds sown. So, all good hopefully. Hopefully my first foray into growing carrots in a big bed is good. Now this particular side of the bed I did, as well as having compost and sieve compost, I did put in some horticultural, well actually sharp sand, to help with the drainage and to help keep things nice and smooth and not lumpy. Right. And also carrots don't need that much. They don't want too much nutrition or they can start forking. Right, that's done. Let's get them covered over. There we go. Parsnips on the left, carrots on the right, some cardboard on top just to keep the moisture in till they germinate, and debris netting covering the rest of it. Now while I'm up here, I'm just going to swing round and show you a little bed that I built last weekend. And you can see here I've got this obelisk in it, which is about 6 foot tall. And I used these plastic edging things, and I just did a sort of D-shaped bed there, put some weed suppressant fabric down actually, so it's a shallow bed, but there's sort of lots of ivy and stuff growing around this area. But anyway, that's got compost in and my nice obelisk, which I've hammered in some wooden stakes, and I've attached this to the wooden stakes so it shouldn't blow over. And here I am going to sow, I'm either going to sow peas or beans or sweet peas. Not quite decided yet, but one of those three. This lupin has overwintered really, really well and has bounced back. It's just in a pot, just sitting up at the back of the garden here at the moment. I may well move that, but yeah, it's coming back and should do great things this year again. Okay, well, while I'm in the carrot groove, I've actually got some more carrots to sow, and these are called Aran, which are sort of small dumpy carrots, for want of a better description. And this time I'm sowing in my usual method, which is in a large pot. So I've got a 25 litre pot here that I have filled with sieved compost. Some of the compost is being reused from last year and some I have refreshed. And when I sow in pots like this, I usually involve a little pot like this as well. And I'll just bring you in closer and show you how I go about sowing in pots. Okay, so why do I use this little pot when I'm sowing carrots? Well, I use it to make little stations, little planting stations. So I just put some indents, hopefully you'll be able to see them, around here and one in the middle. And you should then be able to see, if I just hold it up like that maybe, little sowing stations. And now what I'll do is I'll drop a couple, maybe 3 carrot seeds into each station, and then I'll just sieve some compost over the top. So we'll see how we go with the and the idea is that I can thin out 1 or 2 at each station if everything germinates. And by thin out, what I would probably do is just snip off the weaker seedlings. There. Let's get some compost over the top. Okay, what am I going to do with this now? I'm going to take this down into the polytunnel and I'm going to let the carrots germinate and grow on in there. I may choose to leave them in the polytunnel, we'll see, but in all likelihood, when the weather gets a little bit more consistently warm, I will bring these out and position them somewhere in the garden. Now I've got lots of other carrots that I'm going to be sowing, and I will successionally sow. But for now, I've got the big bed that you saw me sow into and this pot, and I'll leave it at that until April. Okay, I've got a few more seeds I want to sow, and I've got this half seed tray with a mix of general purpose compost and vermiculite in, and I'm going to sow. The first thing I'm going to sow is this calabrese. It's called Green Magic. Then I am also going to sow some spinach, just your bog standard spinach. Then some beetroot, the variety is Bona. And finally, I've got some mustard greens, and these mustard greens are from a seed company that I discovered, I suppose, when I was at the Scottish Smallholder show last autumn. And they're called Seeds of Scotland. And they specialise in seeds that grow well in Scotland, and also seeds that aren't F1 that actually will enable you to save the seeds and carry on producing more plants. So this is mustard greens that I'm going to pop in. I've got a variety of other seeds from Seeds of Scotland, and I'll show you those as I sow them. So I've labelled up this tray. I'm going to sow all of the seeds in this same tray, just one row each. And then I'm going to pop this into the polytunnel under a propagator lid. And once they germinate, then I will prick them out and put them on into other pots. So here I am in the middle area of the garden with my douche Provence peas. These have been in the polytunnel for a number of weeks, experiencing -3, -4 degrees at some points, so they're absolutely fine to go out now into this bed, and particularly since in the next couple of weeks there isn't any freezing temperatures forecast. So let's get them in this bed. I have already amended the soil by adding some blood, fish and bone to it. I didn't need any more compost in there actually, because it's quite a nice consistency in the bed. So yeah, let's get them in. Oopsie daisy. So there you can get a look at the roots. So yeah, definitely wanting to come out here. I put 2 or 3 seeds in each of these cells. So let's actually get them all out and see how many we've got and arrange them accordingly.
Just where it was needed, gleaming in black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing.
If you're interested in seeing how I sowed the peas that I've just planted out, I'll pop a video up here and you can take a look. For now though, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye bye for now.